Well, hello there, kids. Welcome to Just Ask Jade, the show where you can ask a drag queen anything. Well, hello again, kids. If you couldn't tell, I am a huge fan of the 80s. I was totally more of a Cyndi Lauper than a Madonna in the 80s. I loved Jem and the Holograms. I loved all the cartoons then. But you're here to see me answer some questions. And we're going to start here. After watching this season of Drag Race, I want to get behind Gigi Goode so badly, but every time I see her boy chest, it makes me feel like she takes the easy way out and doesn't do as much as the others who fully commit. What is your opinion of queens that don't wear boobs? Full disclosure, at first, I didn't get it. I asked the same question myself. I was like, why would you do drag if you didn't do all of this? And then I realized drag is not one type of femininity. It's all types of femininity. It's non-femininity. It's androgyny. It's masculinity. And it's a whole spectrum of things. And so to think drag can only be one thing is very limiting for me. I've performed with a bare chest before, and I don't do it very often because I'm self-conscious, but the times I do it, you know, it's a bit empowering. Plus, not everybody is curvy, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think what Gigi Goode does is art, and I think it's beautiful. I think she's a stellar queen, too. Next question. If you could pick 3 songs that are overdone in the drag world to ban for 10 years, what would they be? Oh. You know, drag performers pick songs that they love, and that's why this is a really difficult question to ask. You know, if you asked me this a year ago, I instantly would have said This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. It's a beautiful song. It's an incredible song. And everyone was doing it. And I thought, okay, we all knew it was going to be the big song, and there it was. And, you know, I performed it as well, but it needed a break. Another song that I see performed a lot, it's a controversial answer, but, and I'm telling you, I have seen so many performers perform that song. You know, I give my friend Anastasia flack all the time because I'm like, girl, you did that number, you got it out of your system. Thank you. And that's not to say it's not a beautiful song, it's just overperformed. A third one. What's a good third one? It's really hard because we haven't been performing for a while. So everything's going to be new. Everything's going to be fresh when we can start doing shows again. So I don't really have a third number off the top of my head because it's been so long since I've gotten to do a drag show in person. So hopefully things will be opening up again and we'll be able to perform again. So that question did not go the way I thought it would. Anyway, next question. Do you think it is possible for a drag performance to go too far? And if so, without naming names, of course, could you tell us the story? It's definitely possible for a drag performance to go too far, and that's when it crosses the line from being fun and entertainment to being too in your face, or the performer being too touchy-feely and not knowing where to draw the line. I know a lot of performers drink when they perform, and when you drink, you don't realize where that line is and when to stop, and that gets upsetting for me because, you know, one bad experience might make that person never come to another drag show again. And, you know, that's very awkward. I'm not going to name names or specifics, but, you know, it's definitely an awkward part about what we do. So, next question. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt unsafe performing, and if the memory isn't too triggering, could you share? When I was Miss Central PA Pride back in 2012, I had a very up and down year. There was a lot going on. I was very stressed out. So at one show, I'm performing I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. I was performing the version from the Queer as Folk soundtrack, and I was angry. I was mad. I was frustrated. I was doing this number for me. What I didn't know, and I didn't realize until afterward, was there was a man who came into the bar. He came in through the back entrance, which was very weird. He shouldn't have been able to come in that way. And I didn't realize until I watched the video afterward, he had actually come up to my husband, who was my boyfriend at the time, and got confrontational and was like, "Is that a man? Is that a man?" And you can hear him get angry. And I don't know what happened before. I don't know what happened after. You can see him walk in during my number. My husband told me the tale afterward, and that scared me. I was like, this random person just walked into a bar and came in the wrong way, and nobody did anything. And yeah, it is, I can't even watch that video anymore. Mostly because, you know, I was angry when I performed it. But then you can hear him in the video, and it just throws me off. Anyway, here's a more lighthearted question. Have you ever found yourself not knowing a longtime drag pal's real name? I sure have. There have been performers that I've known for ages, and then you reach that point where you're just like, I have no idea what your real name is. Because you get so used to seeing them backstage. You know, even though I arrive in boy form to most of my shows, it's always, "Hey Jade, how are you? Hey girl." You know, there have been people I've known for ages, and I was like, I have no idea anything about your real life. That doesn't matter. Like, we're performers, we're there to have a good time. Eventually I'll learn their real names. And yeah, it's great. And one last question for this week. What would you say is the most difficult item to perform without if you forgot it at home? Have you ever forgotten said item? Okay, so I was doing a murder mystery in drag with a lot of my friends. It was very campy. It was very silly. And I got up to the dressing room. I painted my face. I got dressed. I put everything on. I left my boobs at home. I was shook. I didn't know what I was going to do. Luckily, the dress I wore was cut in such a nice way that you couldn't really tell I wasn't wearing them, but I was painfully aware. I was like, oh my god, I forgot my boobs. What am I going to do? And we moved on. Everything was fine. You know, I've heard horror stories. I was there when a girl forgot her pads right before we were going to do an opening number, and I had to be the jerk who said, if you want to go and get your pads, that's fine, but you're not in the opening number. So I had to perform my part and her part in the opening number. And I love this queen to this day. She probably knows who I'm talking about. Accidents happen. It's awkward, but you learn to move on from it. And that's the episode for this week. If you have any questions for me, you could always submit them through my website, which is www.jadedevere.com, or you could email me directly at ijustaskjade@gmail.com. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons. Say goodnight, kids! Night!